Family is supposed to be your anchor, your safe place. The ones who stand by you through everything. But what happens when that very trust becomes a weapon? Tell me your story below. You can call me broken. Because that's exactly what I became, shattered, after what my own sister did to me. Let me introduce you to Vivian. She's my little sister, 3 years younger. We were tight growing up, the usual sibling stuff. We fought over the TV remote, snuck candy from each other's Halloween stash, but when life got tough, we had each other's backs. When our parents divorced, I was 15 and she was 12, it only brought us closer. With the world around us crumbling, we leaned on each other like never before. Fast forward 2 decades. I'm 38 now, working as a software engineer at a growing tech startup. I've been married to Camila for 6 years, and we have twin boys who just turned 4. Life wasn't picture perfect, but it was stable, and I was proud of it. I'd built something solid. Vivian, on the other hand, struggled more. She dropped out of college twice, had a string of bad relationships, and couldn't seem to stick to a job for long. But I never looked down on her for it. Everyone finds their path in their own time. What I didn't realize was how much bitterness had been festering inside her. It began subtly, snide remarks at family dinners. She'd jab about how I was always the favorite child, how I seemed to have life handed to me while she had to claw for every inch. I chalked it up to old sibling rivalry, nothing more. Then came the financial requests. She'd ask for help, rent money, her car payment, medical bills. And every time I said yes. That's what family does, right? But later she told me that accepting my help made her feel small. She said she hated asking, hated that I could afford to say yes so easily, and worst of all, she hated what she described as the pity in my eyes when I gave her the money. The moment everything unraveled was at our nephew's birthday party. Marcus' son, turning 7. The whole family was there, kids playing, adults chatting over barbecue. Just a typical afternoon at Marcus' place. Vivian had been drinking. That wasn't unusual, but she seemed on edge. She pulled me aside near the pool while everyone else was inside singing, "Happy Birthday." She demanded I loan her $15,000 to kickstart a catering business she'd apparently been planning. It was the first I'd heard of it, and to be honest, I hesitated. Given her track record, I needed more than just an idea. I tried to be gentle. Told her to maybe write up a business plan first, think things through. That's when she lost it. She started yelling, accusing me of thinking I was better than her, that I'd never supported her, that I was just like Dad, always making her prove herself. Everyone at the party heard. It was humiliating. I stayed calm, tried to bring the tension down. Eventually, Marcus and our mom managed to convince her to leave early. I thought that would be the end of it. That we'd talk it through once emotions cooled down, like we always had. I had no idea that Vivian was already setting something in motion, something that would dismantle everything I'd built. 3 weeks later, I was at work when 2 police detectives showed up unannounced. They asked to speak privately, and I felt my stomach collapse. It's that sinking feeling, you know something awful is coming, but your brain can't even imagine what. They told me Vivian had filed a police report accusing me of sexually abusing her when we were kids. The allegations were specific. She gave dates, places, vivid descriptions of what supposedly happened when she was between 8 and 12 years old. I couldn't breathe. I literally froze, unable to speak for what felt like forever. They just watched me, quietly taking in my reaction. When I finally managed to speak, all I could say was, "That never happened." But even as the words left my mouth, I knew how empty they sounded. How do you prove something didn't happen? Especially something from 25 years ago? They told me I wasn't being arrested, yet. But I was advised not to contact Vivian, not to leave town, and to get a lawyer. They were professional, even polite. But I could see it in their eyes. They believed her. The drive home was agony. How do you tell your wife that your sister just accused you of something so vile, so unthinkable, that saying the words aloud feels like contaminating the air around you? Camila's reaction was instant. She stood by me. She didn't doubt me for a second, not because she was naive, but because she knew me. Still, I saw the fear in her eyes. Not fear of me, but fear of what this accusation could do to us. To our boys. To my job. And she was right to be afraid. Within 2 days, my company suspended me pending investigation. By the end of the week, somehow the news had leaked. Parents at our son's preschool stopped talking to us. Friends stopped calling. People assume innocent until proven guilty, but when the allegation is this serious, the stain spreads before you ever get to speak. My attorney, Patricia Hendris, didn't sugarcoat things. She said these kinds of cases often come down to one thing: who the jury believes. And juries, she warned, tend to side with accusers in child abuse cases, especially when it's a woman claiming abuse by a male relative. We spent weeks preparing my defense: old photos, school records, anything to challenge her timeline. But Vivian had been smart about how she framed it all. She said it mostly happened during summers, when our parents were at work and we were home alone. Times when there'd be no witnesses, no evidence to contradict her. The preliminary hearing was like walking through a nightmare. Vivian cried as she told her story, hitting every emotional beat with perfection. She hesitated just enough. Her voice cracked in all the right places. It was a flawless performance. She'd always been good at pretending. But this was her magnum opus. And the worst part? I understood why people believed her. She wasn't asking for money. She didn't seem to be trying to gain anything obvious. From the outside, it looked like a wounded woman finally speaking her truth after decades of silence. But I knew better. I knew it was a calculated lie meant to burn my life down. The case dragged on for 8 excruciating months. 8 months of legal fees draining our savings. 8 months of career limbo. 8 months of watching my boys whisper and wonder about the things grown-ups wouldn't tell them. 8 months of Camila holding strong while the weight of this slowly crushed her from the inside. Our extended family fractured. Marcus didn't know what to think. Mom was caught in the middle, torn between her 2 kids and completely broken by it. Some cousins pulled away. Friends disappeared quietly. Vivian got exactly what she wanted. It pushed me into isolation, a punishment for a life she believed had been smoother, easier than hers. But then, something happened that Vivian hadn't prepared for. During the trial, my attorney Patricia worked carefully, chipping away at the foundation of Vivian's claims. She pointed out subtle contradictions, slight mismatches in the timeline, details that didn't align with family photos or school documentation. It wasn't enough to completely unravel the case, but it planted the first seeds of doubt. Then came the moment that flipped everything. Patricia was questioning Vivian about a particular incident Vivian said happened over Christmas break. She claimed I was 17 and she was 14, and that it occurred in our shared childhood bedroom while our parents were attending a holiday party next door. Patricia calmly produced a photograph I'd forgotten even existed. It was a family picture taken that same Christmas, our whole family, including me, at my grandmother's house, which was 3 hours away from home. The timestamp on the photo matched the exact date and evening Vivian had just sworn under oath was when the abuse took place. This was Vivian's opportunity to walk it back, say she got the date wrong, adjust her story like she'd done before when caught in a contradiction. But she didn't. Instead, she froze. Her voice trembled. Then she grew defensive. She accused Patricia of trying to trick her, of distorting evidence. Her confident facade began to fall apart. Panic surfaced. And then Patricia asked the question that broke everything wide open. Ms. Morrison, is it possible you've confused the timing of these events? Or is it possible they didn't happen at all? The entire courtroom fell silent. For the first time in the entire trial, Vivian looked directly at me. And in her eyes, I didn't see rehearsed sorrow. I didn't see the victim act she'd maintained for months. I saw fear. Real, undeniable fear. She opened her mouth to respond, then closed it. Glanced at her attorney. Looked toward the judge. Then back at me. I might have, some of the details could be, she stammered. The judge gently but firmly interrupted. Ms. Morrison, please respond clearly. And that's when she broke. I made it up, she whispered. So softly, the judge had to ask her to say it again. None of it happened. I made it all up. The courtroom erupted. Her attorney tried to intervene, urging her to stop talking. The prosecutor looked stunned, as if he'd just been blindsided. But Vivian kept speaking. As though once the dam cracked, she couldn't contain the flood. She confessed to making it all up out of jealousy. She talked about the anger she carried, how she'd always compared her failures to my successes. How she wanted me to suffer for what she saw as my perfect life. She admitted to researching how to make false accusations seem believable, reading survivor testimonies, studying tone and body language. She'd practiced for weeks before going to the police. The judge halted the proceedings immediately and informed her of her legal rights. Within an hour, she was formally charged with perjury and filing false police reports. Just like that, the legal storm that had consumed my life came to an end. I was cleared of all charges. My employer welcomed me back. And our home, once drowning in fear and doubt, could finally breathe again. But the emotional wreckage? That was just beginning. The girl I'd grown up protecting, the sister I had loved, supported, and stood by even when she stumbled, that person had intentionally tried to destroy me. At her sentencing hearing 2 months later, Vivian was given 3 years of probation and ordered to complete community service. She was also required to pay restitution for my legal expenses. Not that she had any means of repaying the $80,000 her lies had cost us. But the worst part wasn't the financial loss, or even the months of hell she put my family through. It was her face, her expression when she finally told the truth. There was no regret, no sincere apology, only bitterness. Not sadness for what she'd done, but anger that her plan had failed. Since that day in court, we've had no contact. She moved across the country shortly after sentencing. As far as I know, no one in our family has heard from her. Marcus tried reaching out once, thinking maybe time could bring healing. But she told him, without hesitation, that I deserved everything she'd done. That's the hardest thing to explain to people. Vivian isn't mentally unstable. She doesn't have a trauma history she's misdirecting. She's not suffering from delusions. She's simply a person who believed she was entitled to ruin someone else's life out of envy. Sometimes I look back and wonder if I should have seen it coming. The warning signs were there, small glimpses of resentment that ran deeper than I understood. But I never imagined someone I loved could orchestrate something so deliberately cruel. These days, we're healing. My sons are too young to grasp what happened, and honestly, that might be a blessing. Camila and I went through the fire together, and somehow, it made our bond stronger. My career bounced back. The company offered me a promotion and issued a formal apology for how everything had been handled. But I'll never be the man I was before Vivian's lies. Something in me changed. Because once trust is shattered on that scale, the scar never fully disappears. Yes, the truth came out. Eventually, lies rot from the inside and collapse. But sometimes, the price of truth is almost too high. If this story struck a chord with you, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved without question, drop a comment below. And if you'd like to hear more real stories about how far people can go to hurt each other, consider subscribing. Thanks for listening.